It's a goal! Can you believe it? It's extraordinary.
Now, Kane said that it was the worst game you'd want to see at Marvel Stadium last night, North Melbourne and Adelaide, but from a Roos point of view, a win's a win.
And we saw, though, we'll talk about the Adelaide Crows first, TJ, then we'll get to North Melbourne. And Adelaide Crows are in a world of pain at the moment in regards to the way they're playing, because they dropped Bryce Gibbs, saying he turned the footy over too many times, Bill.
Yes.
And now just the amount of fundamental errors from the Adelaide Crows. And now, we'll talk about their forwards soon, but I don't reckon their forwards are getting a great opportunity because of this midfield. We saw in round one, they just bombed the ball and James Sicily took 12 intercept marks. Just the fundamental basic errors. Adelaide used to be a slick team.
Yep.
And now they just can't hit targets, Cornsey, and it's hard to know where they go from here.
Well, you took them to the flag.
I did, TJ, and I wasn't alone with that. A lot of people having them bouncing back up the ladder, but this is a team that has completely lost its way. Now, I don't know if it's too big a statement to say that they're still haunted by what went on last year. I'm not sure, but this is a team that's playing with no emotion, no spark, no speed. Their midfield is pedestrian.
And why did you tip them?
Oh, because I thought they were going to bounce back. I thought their list
What was that based on?
Well, their list is prime, TJ. They were the best side, home and away, in the competition in 2017. They were almost unbeatable. They play 11 games at home. They were fit. They were healthy. Players back. Sloan, Walker talked up his pre-season. So there was method to that, but they just look like a side that's mentally
So you've
shot.
taken them out of the premiership calculations, and
Completely.
you'd take them out of even the
Top
finals,
four?
Well, I'm
possibly?
not going to take them out of the finals yet because their draw is pretty favourable. I think the next three might be Fremantle, St Kilda and Gold Coast. So they can potentially win those three and they can get back up and going. But they've got major issues.
They only had the 36 inside 50s last night. What they did do is they scored okay from those. They scored 19 times, but they've got a bit of an issue with Walker and also Jenkins at the moment. I know they didn't get a lot in there last night, but what they did serve up when it did go in there, it wasn't great. I thought Walker 2 weeks ago against Sydney looked at his best. He was leading up hard at the footy. I thought he looked sore. He looked like a player who looked sore last night, so prepared to give him another shot. But Jenkins was moving okay, and the mistakes that Jenkins was making last night were not that of a player of his experience, and I thought his game in particular was pretty poor, but certainly they didn't have enough inside 50s to hurt them. But
What do they do? Drop one of them or both? Couldn't drop both.
well, you can't drop both because you need someone to kick to. Although Tom Lynch worked hard, maybe Tom Lynch goes back deeper, but you can't drop both of them. But I'd
Are you
imagine
saying
they'd
you
be
dropped
looking
Jenkins,
at...
though? Because they had the courage to drop Bryce Gibbs last week.
They did.
Took him out of that game last night.
Well,
Are you thinking another
they've
big
got to
name
find
this
the
week?
right balance because the right balance at the moment isn't working for them. Whether that's
Well, let me ask Kane. Would you drop either of them?
I would make a statement. I thought there were some lucky players last week at selection, and how he plucked out Bryce Gibbs, I'm not sure. But they have no young talent coming through. So Miller is 21. Where's the next young star from Adelaide? There's not anything to be excited about if you're an Adelaide Crows fan. They're the third oldest list in the competition. Where's Darcy Fogarty? Where's Galucci? Perhaps it's time to give those guys
you can't drop your captain, though, I don't think.
Why?
No, I don't think
I don't think you
won't
can. I
drop
think
Walker.
that sends a bad message. And I think
Well,
his game
actually
against
could
Sydney
send a
2
pretty
weeks
strong,
ago was
would
okay.
send a pretty strong message.
He
wouldn't it?
looked sore last night, but what does that do to the club? What does that do to the leadership of the club?
That no one
think
is immune
I'll back
from-
Tex Walker to come back in and play good footy, but he did look sore last night. But I don't think you should be dropping the captain.
And Don Pike needs to ask questions of himself and also his coaching staff, because look at this scoring drop-off from the Adelaide Crows over a period of time. 2017, they were dynamic, averaged 108 points. 2018, 88, and now they're down to 69.5. So you look at these coaches who keep evolving with time. Don has to ask himself, has he evolved his game plan enough? And at this point, you'd probably say no.
Did North Melbourne actually do anything last night? I mean, we're going to spend all day talking about how bad Adelaide was? Or?
No, we won't. We'll get to that in a minute. It was a scrap, though, TJ. North did out-grit the Crows in it. Ben Brown returned to form, 4 goals. One of them, though, came via a highly dubious free kick, and one that I think you could level of a staging against him in this particular incident against Riley O'Brien. Now, they'll have to have a look at it from that staging component, Billy. It's certainly helped it along. And if, again, a bit like what happened with this decision against Sicily on Shaq in round 2, if umpires are going to pay that type of infringement, not every time the ball's thrown up, Lloydie and Kane, we're going to never see any passage of play.
It's poor umpiring. You've got to let that play on,
Yeah,
otherwise players
exactly.
are rewarded for actions like that.
It's up to the umpire, and he's an experienced umpire there too, by the way. Have a look at this here. Ben Brown, as you said, back in town, which is great. He was very good, kicked 4 goals. Have a look at this run-up. This is at half-time. Now, I've measured Winks yesterday running 2,000 metres and Ben Brown running here. This is just unbelievable. We're going to go to you, Lordo. You're the goal-kicking aficionado here. But have a look at this. He's still going. Yeah, it's actually play on, I reckon. He's ran that far. He misses that one. It does work for him. He normally kicks goals, but it's an interesting run-up, isn't it?
If you were teaching, you wouldn't ask or tell the kid, have a run up that long. But it works for Ben Brown, and I think that's something why he's made it. Ben Brown, he was a rookie-listed player, and he's one of the hardest workers there is in the game. So it works for Ben, but not many others it would work for.
What would you say to the kids who are getting ready to go out to play their junior footy this morning? What would you say to them about the run-up?
What I'd say is, obviously, you find your own, but keep it simple.
You throw the grass in
sometimes
the air?
the longer the run-up, the more you invent problems, but it's worked for Ben Brown. So.
Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. It was at Marvel Stadium last night. This was a must-win match for the North Melbourne Football Club in particular against the Adelaide Crows, who also needed to do that, just to square the ledger a little bit, but it worked out beautifully for the Roos.
The game started off quite slowly. The second half got going. Ben Brown, we've spoken about, kick 4. Eddie Betts kicked 3, all in the first half. Higgins was terrific again. Pollack, I thought it was his best game for the club. Goldstein dominated the ruck, and the Crouch brothers tried pretty hard, but a man sitting next to me got him started. Kicked 2 goals, Jack Zeeble. Welcome to the Sunday Footy Show, mate. When you kick so many points as you did in that first half, I think at one stage you're 1 goal 10, almost game over, but you're able to come back.
Yeah, I think at half time, I think we went in, it might have been 2 goals of margin. Adelaide were in front, but I thought we dominated the game pretty much for the first half, and it can be deflating, I suppose, but I think we knew over the last couple of weeks we'd put together patches of good footy. Understanding coming into this week, we really wanted to put together a 4-quarter effort, and the scoreboard wasn't going to change it at half time. So we knew that what we're doing was working, and creating the shots is a hard thing in AFL footy. Should be the easy part of kicking goals, but we obviously stuffed that up a little bit on the weekend. So it was good that we had that 4-quarter effort and we could really capitalise on that in the third quarter.
The week before against Hawthorn started well, and it looked like Ben Brown or bust against Hawthorn. Last night you had Mason Wood, who didn't kick a goal but presented really well, just another option. Yourself up full was quite good, and Kane Turner has showed little patches where he could mark the ball above his head as well.
Yeah. Obviously Brownie was challenged during the week externally. We understand his importance for our footy team, and I thought his response was outstanding, kicking 4 goals. But the support Mason Wood provided down there as well, coming in from the VFL, he was outstanding. Kane Turner is underestimated, as you said, in the air for a small bloke. And I think Jai Simpkin had his best game for the year as well as a half forward, getting up the ground and getting back and challenging their defence.
It was a better balanced side, I reckon, yesterday, and certainly with Ben Brown up forward there with Mason Wood and things like that. What about, he's so important to you, Big Benny, you just need him up and going like this and taking marks, and he does a bit of ruck work too. Do you talk to him about that run-up, or is that just, he's always had that since he's come to the club?
No, he has had that down to a fine art since he's come to the club. It took him a while to get that sorted, but obviously we're pretty confident in his goal-kicking ability, and it stands up in big moments, which is great.
There was another moment involving Ben Brown, and Brendan Goddard, it was on ABC Radio, I think, and he was outraged by it. He said it was outrageous by this particular incident, the flop. What do you read into that?
To be honest, mate, that's the first time I've seen it since the game. But
I didn't see it?
No, I didn't see it. I was probably right there. But, mate, I think that's a free kick, to be honest.
No staging?
No, not at all. Brownie's off the ground when he goes. He doesn't jump backwards. Look at that. So everyone's entitled to their opinion, but at the end of the day, the umpires have got to make the decision.
O'Brien didn't have a great night. No, old Obi.
Sorry, Lotto. Busy in the trade period, of course, and Nath spoke about Pollack, who's been strong, must be said, through the first 4 rounds. Pittard really good yesterday as well, but how have you seen the 3 in particular, Hall, Pittard and Pollack?
I mean, they all bring something different to our team that we've probably lacked over the last couple of years, and I think everyone knows Hawley's strengths, and he's playing to them at the moment, which is great. But I'll tell you who's really surprised me is Jasper down back, to be honest. I think 2 or 3 years ago he was actually in the All-Australian squad as a half-back flanker, and I think he's really back to that form. Injuries have let him down the last couple of years, but he's so strong. Like, you look at that contest there. Like,
It's an outrageous haircut, isn't it?
Yeah, he's from Brunswick and he lives in Brunswick, so it probably suits him to a T, but he's one of the nicest guys, Jasper, and Polly's elite ball use out of the centre like that. As a forward, you can't ask for much more than that.
Jack, we heard that Melbourne had a circle of truth last Sunday or something where the players were pretty open and honest with each other. Round 1 was a poor game by North Melbourne, getting belted by Fremantle, but as captain, and what do you do through a week? I know there was changes at selection, a few changes of roles, but how heavy does it get when you start a season 0-3?
It does. There is no bigger critics than ourselves in the footy club. I mean, the footy world, when you turn 0-3, a few years ago we went 0-5, everyone sort of comes after you a bit, but I think inside the 4 walls of the footy club, we are our biggest critics, and what we dished up over the first 3 weeks wasn't what we wanted, and we were working really hard to try and turn that around. We believe that in the last sort of 2 weeks against Hawthorn and Brisbane, we put together parts of games, and we knew that our game plan will stack up. So believing in the game plan, backing it in, and just giving that four-quarter consistent effort was the way to go. And obviously, when you win compared to when you lose, your reviews are a little bit differently, and we had to address a few things in the team reviews, which all of our boys understand that's for the betterment of the team. So I think that last week we had a really good training week on the track, and it set ourselves up to execute on last night, Saturday night.
Are there things like we talk about the circle of truth at Melbourne and that type of thing? There was a terrific moment through the week at Arden Street when Madge Door ran out onto the track. Those sort of things. Does that also provide a lift for the boys?
It does. I mean, seeing Madge go through what he's been through, and to see where he's at now in his recovery, it sort of makes you forget about footy, in all honesty, for a little bit. I think he ran on the ground for the first time on Monday, and we were 0-3, and for that 20 minutes everyone forgot about footy, and it was just awesome to see one of our mates back doing what he loves. Puts a bit of perspective into it as well, and I think his story is one part, but I think for us as a footy club, there's a lot going on in everyone's footy club throughout the year, but you just really need to focus on what's important, and for us that's the 2 hours you play on a Saturday night or on the weekend, and make sure you get the result you need.
He's got bigger too, I can't believe it.
He has, yeah. He's been doing a lot of upper body weight, so
Yeah,
he's,
Mark,
I don't know if he needs to be bigger, but he is.
This is how I saw the votes last night. I thought Sean Higgins is just putting together an amazing season. Ben Brown was the game turner in the second half. Toddy Goldstein, I thought he controlled the ruck. And Robbie Tarrant, every time they went forward last night, Robbie Tarrant was just rebounding it out of there.